Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Oh, it'd be nice if you could hear me. I had my mic muted. I'm getting real sick of doing this. Flames fans, SDPN fans, everybody watching. The Calgary Flames lose yet again. I had someone comment on the channel earlier, or in the last episode, saying, Auddie, you handle these losses so well, man. And it's going to eventually get to a breaking point. Tonight's not going to be that night because it's too goddamn late. And I'm big chilling, man. I got my SDPN order here. If you want to get some Steve Dangleberry's merch, I call it the handsome Christmas sweater because it's got pictures of Steve on it. It can't be an ugly Christmas sweater. So if you want to get your hands on that, SDPN or shop SDPNshop.com. Robert, if you're in the chat, drop the link. But welcome to Game Over Calgary on this fine late night. It's 11:07 Mountain Time, and my guest, once I bring him in here, is he's on the Eastern Time Zone, so it's even later. So I made sure to make sure everybody had a pot of coffee on. Either way, do you think you know which way it's going to go? Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's World Cup, hey, we're down to two teams, Argentina and France? Yeah, we got two teams left in the World Cup. Whether it's World Cup, hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. I always say it. The Flames didn't play so responsibly tonight, especially in their own end. But without further ado, we're going to bring in our lovely guest today, Mr. John Viveiros from Hot Take Hockey. Brother, how are you doing, man? Thank you for joining. I know it's late as balls out there.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping on, man. How are you?
I'm decent, man. Yeah, it's late. You were saying 11:07. It's 1:08 now of my time. But man, I appreciate you having me on. Obviously, I would say kind of same old storyline for the Flames lately, but as a fan, it was an interesting game.
Yeah,
overtime was all right.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Flames fans and people who cover this team will unanimously agree that we don't want to see too many more overtime games. The last 3 of the last 4 have gone to overtime. It would have been Toronto, Montreal, and then this one.
Yeah.
So of the last 4 games, the Calgary Flames lose all 4, but they're able to pick up 3 loser points, and that's going to piss everybody off up in Edmonton because last year when playoffs came around, the Flames had 11 overtime losses, and they won the division, blah, blah, blah. So people are going to get pissed off either way.
For sure.
But I guess your take on it, man, like I know you're well connected within the league. You watch more hockey than probably anybody that I know. So what'd you think? Like coming into this one, what were your expectations? Like, did it live up to what you thought it was going to be? Because I was texting you throughout the game. I'm like, man, this is Daryl Sutter hockey, man. It's low event. It's going to be, Daryl wants them to win 3-2 games, 4-3. They're 1-goal games. What did you think of the game, and how did it compare to your expectations?
Well, I'll start off by saying that I had a 4-parter parlay tonight, and I had the Flames on it. And
buddy,
by the third period,
never do it.
By the third period, I was like, all right, I'm covering this up, and I'm throwing some cash on the Canucks here because I don't know. It was one of those games. When you start a game with Daryl Sutter zoomed up on the TV twice in a row, shaking his head, it's not a good start. But
oh god, no.
I thought the Canucks got hard on the forecheck. Obviously, a couple goals early. I mean, the deflections, whatever. I don't think we're going to get on Markstrom for the deflection, but obviously, the next goal getting down way too early and Garland shelving it, but. I don't know. I thought once Markstrom got settled, the Flames got settled. I think it kind of matched up there. Obviously, the Flames evened it out in the first period. So, I mean, for me, I kind of expected a close game. Like, if someone could, I was thinking maybe 4-2, 4-3 vibe tonight.
Yeah.
But just overall, I thought as the game went on, both teams were creating more space. I thought there's a couple opportunities, like even towards the end. I think it was Hannafin got around the last defender, and Toffoli was in front and kind of just backhanded towards Martin. So, I mean, there was just so many opportunities for me for the Flames where it was like, even early on, Martin was making good saves, but I I think that's kind of the storyline, at least the vibe I'm getting from the Flames and Flames fans. Just so many opportunities just
No finish,
missed on,
man.
and just no finish. Obviously, I mean, you know what? Markstrom got settled and he looked better, and he obviously looked better against was it Montreal the other night?
Yeah, he looked real good.
So I think the thing is, like, you could be on Markstrom all you want, and obviously Vladar took over for a bit there, and Markstrom's had his struggles, but when the team is not taking advantage of like opportunities against weaker teams like the Blue Jackets, like the Montreal Canadiens, even though the Habs have been all right lately, but it's going to translate into a game like the Canucks. I think there were so many opportunities the Flames should have taken advantage of tonight, and obviously the Canucks held on for that shootout win.
Yeah, and you know what? It's refreshing to hear it from your perspective too, because I've been beating the drum all year of, sure, Markstrom hasn't been the Vezina finalist self that he was last year.
Yeah.
But you can't get tied up in putting all of this on him. I make the joke that if you're able to bet a prop on Sports Interaction that Jacob Markstrom's going to let in the first shot on goal, fucking do it, because he's done it more often than not. And that's, it happens, and that it almost seems like, he lets in that one and it settles the nerves, and then, the rest of the game, he looked pretty good. Overtime, he looked pretty good. The last few minutes of that third period when Vancouver was really pressing and the Flames just couldn't seem to keep it out of their own end, lots of D-zone turnovers, he was there to bail them out. So the one storyline coming into this that I think was kind of interesting was, everybody got on the Canucks, got on them hard. They started the year terrible. What was it? They lost 7 straight, something like that. Things haven't been fantastic. They've got a lot of distractions, a lot of outside noise. What's Horvat going to do? Is Shen going to be gone? Is Besser going to be gone? Right? All this noise.
Yeah.
But I think Flames fans specifically got a little bit too hard on him, because coming into this game, the Canucks were only 4 points back from the Calgary Flames. So it's, a win tonight, the Flames get 1 point and the Canucks get 2. So it's definitely getting tighter. But are the Canucks a team that you think are going to be able to right this ship and turn it around, or are the Flames due for a better new year? Like, how do you gauge this Pacific Division, but specifically the two teams that we saw tonight?
Well, I think, on the Canucks side of things, I think this is kind of where fans hate where it's at this point. It's like, obviously all the noise and all the trade rumors around Horvat, but more so, and I cite the late 2000s, early 2010 Toronto Maple Leafs, is like, you always hang around that 8, 9, 10 spot. You don't get a good draft pick and you don't make the playoffs.
That's been the Flames for years. It's called perpetual mediocrity. It's just nonstop being middle of the pack.
Yeah, exactly. So both teams are in that conversation right now where they're exactly on that outside. For the Canucks, it even sucks even more, because if you hang in that conversation long enough, guys like Horvat or guys like Miller last year, are going to hold on, and then you have the decision of losing them for nothing or signing a big time contract. I think the Flames are in a little bit of a different scenario because they have a lot of their guys locked up. Obviously, they'll have to deal with guys like Lindholm in a couple of years and stuff like that. But I think for the Flames, in comparison to the Canucks, I'm still confident the Flames are going to turn it around and make it happen, because you know what? Once these, the Flames start figuring out their scoring, I think the defense, here's one good sign for the Flames tonight, I'll say, is I think it was 5 days ago, I saw you tweet out Mackenzie Weegar, worst game, whatever, this season. And I'm just thinking, this Mackenzie Weegar, not bad tonight. I saw better signs, better transitional passes, created some opportunities.
Yeah.
Much better than the giveaways that we saw a few months ago.
And it's funny because, I was when that trade happened with the whole Kachuk thing with Huberdeau and Weegar and Schwint, and that pick that came over, a lot of Panthers folks in that circle were kind of telling me, all right, don't get too hyped up for Weegar. Just watch him in his own end. And I was like, yeah, whatever. The Flames can use the blue line help. It can't get much worse. And then I started to notice, even tonight, there were a couple. I think I took a note. It might have been the third period there. Mackenzie Weegar. It was a D zone turnover. I remember it specifically. He was on the half wall, and he served a pizza right on the tape of Curtis Lazar. And usually I wouldn't be too worried about Curtis Lazar, but the Flames have this thing where when former players come in, They just seem to put on a clinic. Mark Jankowski, for example, Matthew Tkachuk did it. It's just written in the stars for them. So I was a little worried when Mackenzie Weegar late in the third period serves a pizza right up the middle to none other than Curtis Lazar, former Flame. But yeah, you're right. He has gotten better. Yeah, aside of that, he has gotten better, and I think a lot of that is credit to, you talk about the Daryl Sutter system. We talked about it a little bit before. A lot of defense, low scoring, low event, and it's starting to almost cost the Flames that they're not scoring at, it's Daryl Sutter hockey, but you need to score in today's NHL. There's just way too much skill, and when your goalies, when you're everything's not clicking, you're not scoring, you're spending too much time playing defense, and your goalies are maybe struggling a bit. Yeah. Where's the scoring coming from? You need scoring.
Yeah, no, I wanted to cite Weegar a little bit because, obviously a lot of the production from the back end. I mean, like Hannafin created some stuff, but it'll be him, it'll be Anderson, it'll be him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think, Weegar's defensive game, like those giveaways just can't happen. Like obviously the other night against Columbus, the giveaway to Robinson was, he said himself, it was a pizza.
Man. It was a
crazy pizza.
Oh
yeah. So that can't happen, obviously. But looking at the brighter signs of the Flames, I was saying it the other night on my pod, actually. I was just saying, like, Huberdeau, a lot of his identity with Florida was that kind of fast paced, like up and down hockey. And obviously Daryl Sutter's hockey is not that. So it's an adjustment period for some of these guys, obviously. I do think they'll turn it around, but I think just more so, it's easy to look at like the Canucks shit show right now and the fact that they just beat Calgary tonight after coming off losses against Montreal and Columbus. So in a way, the pity points could be the storyline. The Flames losing against weaker teams, the storyline, and obviously the Canucks catching up against the Flames in the standings is not a great sign either. But you know what? I'll be the voice of reason here and say I think he'll turn around.
They need the voice of reason because I've been beating the drum of holy shit. Things need to we need to put out the fire. Okay, I got a good topic to go into next, but first let's quickly talk to some of our people in the chat. We got a good amount of people in here right now for such a late game. 38 people in here is pretty impressive. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. If you are in here, please, I don't know. They talk about this algorithm thing. I've been out of YouTube for too long. I don't know what the hell that is and how that works. Just hit the like button. I'm told it helps. Like it, share it.
Something about dropping likes and dropping.
comments. I'm so out of it. But when I was back in the day, they used to say, smash that like button, thrust that subscribe button, whatever you got to do. Lots of good comments in here. Off the wall hockey saying, "Yo, what a game! Look at these legends." I'm sure that 75% of the legendariness of this is John, and I just make up a small portion of that. James Johnson saying, "Auddie sweater game is phenomenal." Look, man, anytime you have the chance to wear 4 Steve Dangles in Christmas hats on a sweater, you got to take that opportunity. Has the off-season hype died yet? I'm assuming that is a comment in relation to the Flames and how kind of everybody hyped up, losing Gaudreau was not easy. And then Tkachuk saying he wanted out was not easy. And then everybody was like, oh, the Flames got better because they got Huberdeau, Weegar, blah, blah, blah. But I want to table that because it's going to segue into what I want to talk about next. And I want to quickly get through the last little bit of these comments before we do that. Lindsay says maybe we should listen to some In Flames to get Calgary going. I'm a huge In Flames fan. We Will Remember is one of my favorite songs of all time. Canuck Clay talking about legends. Whoa, legend overload on my screen. YouTube legend, SDPN
Let's
legend.
Go Clay.
He's the GOAT. I called him my YouTube dad for years because he just is. Jay says nice haircut, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
John also makes up for 95% of the handsomeness on this stream. The other 5% coming from my 4 Steve Dangles on my.
On the screen, man.
That's because I got these new lights installed. Each like and share gets us closer to Marky stopping the first shot. Yeah, I like that. I'm so proud of you and happy for you, Mr. James. Thank you so much. And one last comment. There isn't a dominant player, and it is fairly easy to see in overtime when no one can carry 3-on-3. That's where you miss a guy like Johnny Gaudreau, who was quite proficient, or even Matthew Tkachuk, who was he was a good puck carrier in overtime. Okay, as I rambled, thank you everybody, by the way, for your comments. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about or bring up with you is Jonathan Huberdeau and his maybe lackluster start. We'll say that because we know the kind of player that Jonathan Huberdeau can be, and how he how he put up monstrous numbers last year, 85 assists, a record for an NHL record for assists. I want to ask you about the system, because I think, at least for me, for my money, and Mike Gould, I'll give him credit. He's a writer for Daily Faceoff and Flames Nation, good buddy of mine. He put out a tweet saying, and I'm kind of calling him out because he put it on like his Twitter circle, so only certain people can see it. But he was like, the main timeline isn't ready to hear that Daryl Sutter's system and Daryl Sutter is ruining Jonathan Huberdeau. Do you think that Daryl Sutter's defense first and low event could be a negative impact on Jonathan Huberdeau and how we know him?
Yeah, well, leading up to me answering this question, I do want to say, talking to a lot of Panthers fans in the past, when Quenneville obviously got the boot and they were going through their transitional period looking for their new head coach, so many Panthers fans I talked to were so resistant on having John Tortorella as the coach. And I asked why. Like, I just thought experience, structure could do well for the Panthers in the Atlantic Division. But a lot of them said specifically the offense, but more so a guy like Huberdeau would be affected by a guy like John Tortorella coming in. And obviously we've seen older fashioned coaches like that sometimes be a negative influence on players like that, like skillful possession based players.
Yeah.
I do believe Sutter's system is affecting Huberdeau for sure. I think guys like Nas or Backlund can like obviously flourish in a system like that in certain ways. But a guy like Huberdeau, it's just like, it's the confidence with the puck on his stick. In so many different areas, it's like he's hesitant to do something, or he's like trying to debate on like if he should go freestyle or stick to the system. Basically what I saw him entering the zone there, and then he gives it away and it goes a 3-on-1 back to the way. I think it was Pettersson. If he has his stick on the ice, that's a Canucks 4-3 regulation win right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's confidence with the puck on his stick for sure. I mean, I've seen signs of it this season, but like I was watching Panthers games last year where Huberdeau was doing spinorama passes cross ice to Ekblad, or like blind passes from behind the net to Barkov in front. Like, I'm just not seeing that right now. No. I'm not seeing the creative freestyle, high flying Johnny Huberdeau I saw last year in Florida. And obviously that has to do big time with the system. I would say obviously it has to do with like new like scenarios with players and line mates and stuff like that. And Huberdeau, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Auddie, I'm pretty sure he's seen all three top lines this year, right? He's been on all three.
Daryl's put him pretty much everywhere to kind of try to find that fit.
And that's also not good for a player when you're flip-flopping so much like that.
Exactly. And Flames fans are no secret to it. Glenn Gullitson liked to do this thing where he put names in a blender, and whatever spat out was the lines he was going to put out in any given night. So it's no secret to Flames fans that that's not a winning recipe. I will say, though, Daryl Sutter's system, and a lot of this analytics guys will probably agree with me. They know a lot more than I do, but his defensive metrics are way better. Like, I'm pretty sure he's among the top 5 in the league for expected goals against. Like, he's up there as like his line, we'll say.
Well, doing research on my own, Huberdeau and Weegar have both been better defensively. Believe it or not, with Weegar, I know Flames fans have been on Weegar lately, but both of them have been better defensively by far this year. I'm pretty sure. I know Huberdeau's defensive numbers have been pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So like, you talk about the impact. It's positively impacting that, but that's not the kind of player that Jonathan Huberdeau is, which is unfortunate because everybody's been on him. I think he's got 18 points in however many games it's been, 27 something games, which isn't exactly knock your socks off numbers. When you look at a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, who's got 40 and 22 or whatever it is, right? It's tough. It's tough, and Flames fans have this expectation. A lot of fans have this expectation of him, and it's not quite there yet. So, like you said, and like everybody else has kind of been holding out for hope We hope that it turns around. I see one comment in here from James Johnson saying, Andrew Burnett for Flames head coach, let's ride. So you know what? He's a product of his system right now. The Flames are lacking scoring. It's everywhere. It's not just him. Lots of players on this team struggling right now. But one of the things too that I especially notice, I don't know if you saw it the other night, but Chris Tanev took that shot to the side of the dome. That was a tough and scary scene first and foremost. But he's obviously out of the lineup now. He seems to be okay, just obviously not cleared to play yet. This team looks a lot different when he's not in the lineup, and I think that was pretty evident tonight.
Yeah, so it was Mackey with Stone on the bottom pair, right? Yeah. I mean, I've always said Tanev's got to be one of the more underrated defensemen around the league. So sound. And yeah, man, I think it definitely has like a different vibe. I would say I've watched a decent amount of Flames games this year, but has Uyghur spent more time on the left or right? I feel like he's kind of been back and forth recently.
Yes, he has been a little bit back and forth recently, especially because they kind of ran into some problems with, obviously Shillington hasn't played. Stone was hurt. They had Tanev missed some time. Like there was a
well, that even plays a part in it. Like
the
shifting on Uyghur's part too. I think that plays a big part. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say the defensive, like they let down Markstrom so many times in that third and overtime, like especially overtime. Like I said the Canucks held on for the shootout win, but really in that overtime specifically, the Flames held on just to lose in the shootout.
Like it seems like that's how they've been playing lately. They just they're too afraid to, like they're playing like they know they're going to lose. Like they're playing for that extra point. And it's frustrating. But carry on with your point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, like, obviously it's a little bit of a mixed message because of what happened later in the game. But overall, obviously it's the Flames scoring. That's pretty inconsistent. I think Markstrom, if he gets his game back and he's consistent the rest of the year, at least I would say 75% of what he was last year. Like the Flames just got to score. I think consistency on scoring. Huberdeau's got to get going. I think that's the motor, at least with Kadri and with Lindholm. But I mean, my overall point, I think, is that when we're talking about identity, and obviously the team they played tonight, complete shit show all around. But I mean, Bo Horvat, that's a prime example of just ignoring the noise. Like 21 now on the year, like he's ignoring the noise. Just that's production. So I think some of these guys on the Flames, they've just got to ignore the noise.
I know, and it's easier said than done, especially from where we are, 100%. Where we are to where they are. Couple things I want to get to, but we'll just quickly hit the chat second last time. We'll hit it right before we end the episode as well. But we're gonna put a bow on the episode pretty soon here. So yeah, if you're in the chat, be sure to like it, be sure to share it, all that good stuff. We know what to do here. I'm going to say it's not a personnel problem for the Flames. It's 100% the way they're deployed / their mental game. That's a good point coming from Nicola there. Markstrom is washed. I don't know if he's washed. I think it might be a little bit too soon to say he's washed.
Yeah, I think that's premature.
It's very premature. Conrad with from the top rope saying Sutter needs to go. That's, I don't know if it's a Sutter needs to go thing or like I don't know. I'm so conflicted on the Sutter thing because his system I just don't think works for this team as a whole. And we talked about it.
Yeah.
With guys like Huberdeau, not everybody thrives in that kind of system, and I don't think Huberdeau is that guy.
But then you'll have the devil's advocate where it's like Gaudreau had his kind of season last year.
Exactly. And he's never been, he's never been a more complete player than he was last year.
Yeah.
Under a full year of Daryl's system.
With the offensive production.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll always have that argument because it can work.
Yeah.
But it's a case by case thing, right? That's the way I think I look at it, at least. So Lindsay saying it's like trying to knock a square peg into a round hole. Yep, that's a good way to put it. It's hard to have a hold on, let's see here. I can't read. It's hard to have a score 3 goals a night as well as being the best defensive line in the NHL. You need talent to score and others to defend. That's a good point. James Johnson saying 98th percentile defensively. And I believe that was in relation to our Huberdeau comments. So that's some chef's kiss, as he says. People must need to be wrapped up in bubble wrap. 10 I've got nailed. And poor Steve. Yes, poor Steve and his broken nose. He can blame Miggy on that one. Okay, we're going to put a bow on our episode here. A couple more here with our guest, John from Hot Take Hockey, the YouTube channel. Great YouTube channel, by the way. I'll give you lots of time to plug it after, but great YouTube channel. Highly check that stuff out. Storylines coming into this one. Obviously, we talked about the Canucks, and I know I say you guys because it's all the YouTubers who make great content about this stuff. The trade rumors. I feel like that's an NHL YouTuber's bread and butter. The trade rumors are just like the go-to, which is, and it's good because I love the conversation. You make great content. Everybody makes great content about it. Brock Besser scratched tonight. Everybody kind of threw their hands up and was like, "Oh my God, he's going somewhere," until they said it was a non-COVID related illness. Yeah. Do you think Brock Besser's getting traded? And where? As quickly as you can. Not quickly. I don't want to rush you, but like in 2 or 3 sentences, is he getting traded? And where do you think he's going?
Yeah, I'll say yes. I liked Freeman's suggestion of Washington, but I'm going to go in a different direction. What I said recently, that I feel like New Jersey and Vancouver have been tied too many times in the past. I'm going to say Besser to the Devils as one of the options. I
like that. The one I wanted to get to the most, you mentioned it, the captain, Bo Horvat, who's scoring at a ridiculous pace right now. Like you said, blocking out that noise. Someone's going to get Bo Horvat at like 50% retained. They're going to have to pay, but it's going to be like the steal of the deadline, I think. Like, because what's 50%? 2.75? Is he making $5.5 million?
Around there, I think
right?
So.
Like 2.75 for Bo Horvat. But the Canucks should
or
really cash it.
2.25.
Or 2.2. Yeah, whatever it ends up being. But they're gonna. Are the Canucks gonna fumble the bag? Are the Canucks gonna fumble the bag with a trade like that, or do you think they're gonna cash in?
Well, they better cash in.
They have
people
to
throw out like Boston, Toronto, but I think the team that might come through here if they don't get like a lower option like a Monahan or like experienced Taves, I think Colorado could go for a Bo Horvat.
Oh man,
a second line spot.
So gross.
They won't care, man. They lost Kadri in free agency, won a cup. Frig, we'll take.
They don't give a shit.
Even if we lose them in the offseason, we get another cup.
Yeah, exactly. They truly don't care. And that's the thing is like the reason I wanted to ask is because like in this market, I think it was actually in Vancouver, Dollywall was saying that the Flames have checked in on Besser, and everybody was like, "Oh, we need Brock Besser. We need Brock Besser." I'm like, man, yeah, he makes a lot of money though. Like. You got to remember the Uyghur extension kicks in, the Huberdeau extension 10.5 comes in next year, and the Flames are going to have to eventually give some money to Elias Lindholm if they want to keep him around. So I just think cap wise, it probably wouldn't make sense, eh?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to revisit it in the offseason, like if he's still there and like taking Lucic out of the equation, I mean, sure, I guess it's possible, but. Yeah, I think I think people are also just making it a thing because Vancouver and Calgary have surprisingly made trades in the past, which
surprisingly
is like
trades and they get every free agent who was a former Canuck. Yeah.
So like there's so many ties between Vancouver and Calgary in terms of player exchange. So like people just like to make it a storyline. I'm sure the Flames did check in on Besser because they need scoring. So obviously they're going to check in on a scoring winger.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of teams have checked in on him.
I'm sure it's just due diligence.
I would love to see Besser next to Matthews. So
right.
If we're throwing out wishes, there you go.
I'm sure a lot of people would be okay with that in Leafs land. All right, last call for any of our comments and questions here. Not too many came in. After somebody saying trade rumors are such a waste of time. Can't stand that. So I guess we know where some
They're a
stranger.
waste of time until people are right with the rumors.
Exactly. They're a waste of time until you're binge watching them at midnight on a Tuesday because you just can't get enough of them, which is, speaking for myself.
That too, yeah.
Jay saying Connor Mackey needs to be a Canuck. His aunt is a housemate of mine in my group home here in Vancouver. We will take Connor Mackey for the low price of, one Bo Horvat. How does that sound? Bo Horvat 1-for-1. Connor Mackey, you want him that badly? Oh, man. Well, this has been awesome. I knew I threw this on you like last minute. I felt terrible. I'm like, I completely forgot I'm doing this show because I'm doing the first 6 this month because the other guy, Peter, who does the other shows, is on vacation, and I'm like, I need a guest like stat, and I was like, fuck, I gotta text John. So I texted you last minute. It's late as hell. Thank you so much.
Man, I'm notorious for doing things on the fly, so don't even worry about it. The only thing I feel bad on is that I wasn't able to bring my Canucks and Flames jersey in the background.
Nah, that's okay. You know what? We'll have you on again. I promised you. I said we're gonna have you on, and we're gonna have you on a proper way too, not just a last minute. So, before we go though, there's a lot of people in here who probably know who you are, but for those of you who don't, just the floor is yours. Tell everybody what you're up to, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, so full name John Viveiros _ on Twitter, Instagram, but Hot Take Hockey is the YouTube channel. Do a Hot Take Hockey podcast with my cousin Lucas. We record Monday nights, post throughout the week. I just had James Duthie on the pod.
I saw
so
that.
That was
awesome.
That was a pretty sweet chat with James. Hoping for some cool guests coming up, including this guy right here, Auddie James. Definitely. Hey, we were supposed to have you on, but I know you.
I know
that one night.
It's so busy now with the Flames schedule and doing Dragons play-by-play and stuff. It's just so busy, but we'll make it happen. We'll definitely make it happen.
Well, just quickly, man, you've been enjoying that. I know we're closing.
Yeah,
man.
Man.
It's
been
cool hosting for the Wolves. Myself.
Yeah. I was gonna say you didn't even bring that up. I was gonna bring it up if you didn't. But yeah. It's how's that been for you? Because like I haven't really asked you how it's been.
Yeah, no, we'll chat offline. But it's just, man, being in the arena, just a different atmosphere. I was saying to my buddy, like, obviously YouTube, doing live streams, videos. It's always cool, and the audience is there and interacting, but it's just a different feel sometimes when you're in the building and just the fans are there,
And this is a message to anybody out there who doesn't believe in YouTube or anything like that. Like that's a lot of people's foot in the door, right? Like look at you, like you're doing great things. YouTube was your foot in the door. A lot of people who like the SD of the SDPN started out on YouTube, right? And it just give her, like, do what your heart tells you. I'm trying to get all philosophical, but it's like fucking midnight, and I'm not coming across. But
it
like,
takes a while, but for sure, YouTube is a huge first foot in the door.
Yeah, grind and do your thing, man, and perfect your craft, and you'll end up like Hot Take Hockey and John Viveiros. So
hey, nothing too special here, but I appreciate the kind words. But yeah, guys, thank you. Hot Take Hockey on YouTube. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely check out the pod on Spotify and Apple if you'd like. But
check them all out.
Auddie, really appreciate the support, man. Thank you,
buddy.
So much.
Of course, I always will. All the links will be in the show notes. I know Robert put all of John's information and links in the channel in the description of the video as well. So Rob hooked us up there. Thank you, Rob. For you Flames fans, the next game over Calgary is going to be on Friday when the Calgary Flames host the St. Louis Blues. They're going to look to snap a 4-game losing skid. I will not be your host. Peter Klein will not be your host. All it says on the schedule is guest host. So that's going to be a surprise. Last time it was Andrew Berkshire. I'm going to assume it's someone like that. I don't know who it's going to be or what it's going to be like. So stay tuned for that. I will be in Drumheller doing a Dragons game, so I will unfortunately not be on the call. But thank you so much for thanks to John. Be sure to check him out. Thanks to our friends over at Sports Interaction, SDPN, everybody else, everybody involved, Robert, our producer, and Maud, and thank you to everybody for watching. Please be sure, if you're listening on playback, to subscribe and rate the podcast on whatever your preferred podcatcher is, and I will catch you on Sundays, game over Calgary when they play the San Jose Sharks, and until then, take care, pals, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thanks, everyone.